Here I am, waving to you from Waverley in New York, the hub of Zion Fellowship. And in waving to you, I'm waving lots of love from us to you. Are you waving back to me? I hope so. Did you know it was in 1968 that I first came to the Philippines? And I fell in love with your beautiful land. And then I fell in love with you, a beautiful people. I have been often to the Philippines since then. I remember in 1973, I was with World Map at Los Baños. And there God spoke to me about the Philippines. And he said this: the Philippines is a sheep nation, and it will be a missionary nation too. And all the joy that filled my soul and those of the leaders who were there, about 800 leaders were there, as they realized that God had a sovereign call upon the Philippines. And then I have been in the Philippines much through the Philippine Aid Missionary under Pastor David Wallace from New Zealand. And after that with Pastor Norman Holmes from Michigan. And there we've had the privilege of speaking at many of your seminars and so forth. But today we have the privilege of speaking at your dedication of this wonderful building that's gone up. And as I was contemplating that, and I had really wanted to be here, but my physical condition does not permit me to fly. In fact, the doctors have forbidden me to fly. But we are looking for God's miracle so that by His grace things can turn around. He can give me a new heart and I can go to the nations once again. But I was looking to the Lord. What particular reason did you raise up this Bible college where you are at the moment? And I felt the word wisdom, that God wanted His wisdom to be manifested in this college, and this wisdom, the wisdom of God, to be imparted to each of the students that come here. And so I want to speak a little bit about wisdom. You know, speaking of Israel, God says in the Old Testament that others will look upon you and say, this is a wise people. A wise people. Why? Because they fulfilled the laws of God, the Ten Commandments. And I feel somehow that others will look upon this Bible college and say, yes, the people that graduate from here are wise people. Now, what do we mean by wisdom? Well, in the Word of God, King David, writing to King Solomon, says this: wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, with all thy getting, get wisdom, and she shall promote thee. The crown of glory shall she put upon you. And so wisdom is more valuable, King Solomon tells us, than rubies, than anything you can desire, cannot compare to wisdom. And so God is putting the most valuable of His treasures into this college, His wisdom. The 7 spirits of the Lord, the second one is the spirit of wisdom. And Christ, of course, was anointed with this, as was Moses, as were many of the leaders of Israel. So I want to speak a little bit about wisdom. What exactly is wisdom? Well, of course, much can be said about that, but I'm going to take it from this aspect. I want to speak on the character of wisdom, the ability of wisdom, and the productivity of wisdom. CAP, character, ability, productivity, associated with wisdom. Well, character obviously is the most important. And it speaks in Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 1 of the 7 pillars of wisdom. Wisdom hath hewn out her pillars, 7 of them. And these 7 pillars are very important because they hold up a home, they hold up a church, they hold up an organization, they will hold up a nation. And so what are the names of these pillars? Well, we have to go to James chapter 3 and verse 17 to find the answer for that. And we are told that first of all, wisdom is pure. Now, with the holy, there is understanding. And I want to say this, there is no substitute for a holy life. There is no substitute for being clean and pure before the Lord. And it is essential that each one of you as leaders or members of the churches, seek the Lord to be purified, to flee, as the Apostle Paul said, from, youthful lusts. And so that's pillar number 1, purity. And we want to be pure and clean and ask God that his purity be interwoven into our character. And then the next pillar is peaceable. And the peace of God that passeth all understanding shall be ours as we put into practice Philippians chapter 4 and verse 7, 8, where it says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication make your requests known unto God. In other words, in the Psalms it says, roll your burdens upon the Lord. And in so doing, the peace of God will be ours. And then we are to meditate upon those things that are indeed, shall I say, fruitful. And in Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8, there are 8 things that are considered pure. And we are to test our thought life by them. And one of them is just. Is it just? Is it true? You see. So please look at Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8. So that the peace of God that passeth all understanding be yours. That's the second pillar. And then the third pillar is gentle. Well, I think that is a pillar that is well established in your nation. You are a gentle people. You are a lovable people. And I think that is one of the characteristics of the Filipino. He is a gentle person. And so you should have no problem whatsoever in building up that pillar in your life. It's a natural to the Filipino. And then after that comes easy to be entreated. Now this is very important, you see. There are some things that we must not compromise on. But there are so many things in life so many decisions to make that are not, shall I say, of vital importance. And we do not want to be, as they say in France, têtu, hard-headed. And we don't want to be those who must have their own way. But we must seek to know what is right and to do that. And so easy to be entreated. We listen to what other people have to say. And that's one of the keys of leadership. Listen to other people. And if they have a request, and that request is reasonable, go along with it, and help them out. Easy to be entreated. In other words, you're someone whom others can go to, and they know that they will have a listening ear. And so easy to be entreated. And then full of mercy and good fruits. Well, there are 7 pieces of furniture in the tabernacle of Moses. There's the altar of burnt offering, there's a laver in the outer court, there's a candlestick